We have all seen the motivational videos. Push past your limits. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. In the modern fitness world, there is a profound glorification of absolute, total exhaustion. And if you aren't collapsing onto the floor at the end of a workout, you simply didn't work hard enough. Welcome to Dr. Levitas. The desire to push yourself and to build mental toughness is a beautiful, powerful human instinct. But there is a very fine, invisible line between healthy and a catastrophic biological emergency. When you cross that line, your muscles do not just get sore. They literally begin to die, dissolve, and leak a highly pretty bad substance directly into your bloodstream. A substance that is fully capable of shutting down your kidneys and ending your life. Today, we are having a life-saving conversation about a medical emergency that is quietly stalking the modern fitness world. We are talking about rhabdomyolysis, often referred to as rhabdo. We are diving deep into the microscopic destruction of your muscle cells, why pushing through unaccustomed volume can be lethal, and exactly how you can tell the difference between standard post-workout soreness and a full-blown medical crisis. Please take a second to like the video and leave a comment. Your engagement is a huge help to the channel. To understand the sheer scale of this emergency, we first have to look at what happens inside your muscle tissue when it is pushed to absolute failure. The word rhabdomyolysis sounds complicated, but it is actually a literal description of the event. Rhabdo means striated, referring to your skeletal muscle. Myo means muscle, and lysis means the breakdown or bursting of a cell. When you perform an intense workout, you naturally create microscopic tears in your muscle fibers. This is safe, and it is how you grow. But when the physical trauma is too extreme, when the volume is entirely unaccustomed and the mechanical stress overwhelms the tissue, the actual outer membrane of your muscle cell, called the sarcolemma, violently ruptures. The cell literally bursts open. When millions of these muscle cells burst simultaneously, everything that was safely contained inside the cell is suddenly dumped directly into your systemic circulation. Your bloodstream is flooded with massive amounts of potassium, which can instantly trigger fatal heart arrhythmias. It is flooded with an enzyme called creatine kinase. But the most dangerous, destructive passenger spilling into your blood is a specialized protein called myoglobin. Myoglobin is the protein responsible for storing oxygen inside your muscle tissue. It is what gives raw meat its red color. Inside the muscle cell, myoglobin is essential for your survival. But outside the muscle cell, floating freely in your bloodstream, it acts as a microscopic wrecking ball. Your entire blood supply must eventually pass through your kidneys to be filtered. Your kidneys are made up of millions of microscopic, highly delicate filtration tubes called nephrons. When the massive, dark, heavy myoglobin proteins reach the kidneys, they act like thick mud pouring into a fine coffee filter. The myoglobin physically clogs the tiny tubules of the kidneys. But it doesn't just block them. It is directly chemically toxic to the kidney cells. As the myoglobin breaks down, it releases free iron, which creates massive oxidative stress and inflammation, actively burning the delicate kidney tissue. The filters become entirely plugged and destroyed. This is how rhabdomyolysis induces acute renal failure. Your body's internal plumbing system completely backs up, and the toxins in your blood begin to rise to lethal levels. So, how do you know if this biological meltdown is happening inside your body? The medical community looks for a very specific, undeniable trio of warning signs known as the classic Triad. The first sign is severe, agonizing muscle pain. We are not talking about the stiff ache of a good workout. We are talking about a deep, throbbing, unrelenting pain that feels entirely out of proportion to the exercise you did. The muscle belly itself often becomes swollen, rigid, and incredibly tender to even the lightest touch. The second sign is profound muscular weakness. Because the muscle cells have literally burst and died, they can no longer conduct the electrical signals required to contract. You might find that you physically cannot lift your arms above your head to put on a t-shirt, or you cannot bend your knees to sit in a chair. The structural hardware is broken. The third and most terrifying sign is the definitive hallmark of rhabdo, dark urine. Because your kidneys are desperately trying to filter out the massive myoglobin proteins, the myoglobin spills into your urine. Patients will go to the bathroom and see urine that is the color of dark tea, or famously, cola. If you ever urinate and it looks like dark soda after a heavy workout, you do not wait. You do not drink water and see how you feel. You go to the nearest emergency room immediately. Now, why is this happening more frequently today? Why has Rhabdo earned the unfortunate nickname of the CrossFit kidney killer? It comes down to the specific types of movements we are programming and the danger of unaccustomed volume. I want to be very clear. High-intensity functional training is a fantastic way to build fitness when programmed responsibly. The sport itself is not the enemy. The enemy is a lack of progressive adaptation, specifically regarding something called eccentric muscle contractions. An eccentric contraction occurs when your muscle is lengthening while under tension. Think of the lowering phase of a bicep curl, the downward descent of a squat, or the dropping phase of a pull-up. Eccentric movements cause vastly more microscopic muscle damage than concentric lifting movements. Rhabdomyolysis almost always strikes when a highly motivated individual, perhaps a beginner or someone returning from a long break, attempts a massive volume of unaccustomed eccentric exercises. Imagine a workout that calls for 100 pull-ups for time, or 100 GHD sit-ups, a movement that places extreme, agonizing eccentric tension on the abdominal wall. The athlete's ego tells them to push through the pain, but their tissue simply does not have the structural integrity to survive 100 eccentric tearing motions. The cells violently rupture, and the internal cascade begins. This biological crisis is then massively amplified by the environment, creating a perfect, lethal storm. We have to talk about the devastating multiplier of dehydration and heat. When you are engaging in these extreme, high-volume workouts, you are likely sweating profusely. As you sweat, your overall blood volume significantly decreases. Think back to the kidneys. They are already struggling to filter the thick, toxic myoglobin out of your blood. If you are severely dehydrated, your blood becomes highly concentrated and sludge-like. The mud pouring into your kidneys' coffee filters becomes much thicker and moves much slower. Furthermore, when you are dehydrated and hot, your body purposely constricts the blood vessels leading to your kidneys to save fluid and redirect blood to your skin to cool you down. This means your kidneys are being starved of oxygen right at the exact moment they are being poisoned by myoglobin. This is why doing high-rep, unaccustomed, eccentric workouts in a hot garage during the summer is a biological recipe for total renal shutdown. You are removing the very fluid your body needs to flush the toxins away. So if the worst happens and a patient arrives at the emergency room with the classic triad of symptoms, what does the medical team do? How do we stop the kidneys from dying? The critical medical intervention for rhabdomyolysis is not rest, and it is not ice. It is immediate, aggressive, massive fluid resuscitation. The moment rhabdo is confirmed via a blood test checking for astronomical levels of creatine kinase, the medical team will insert an IV and begin flooding the patient's circulatory system with liters upon liters of saline. The goal is to dramatically increase the blood volume and forcefully flush the myoglobin out of the kidney tubules before it can cause permanent scarring. We are literally trying to pressure wash the kidneys from the inside out. In severe cases, where the kidneys have already shut down or potassium levels are critically high, the patient may require emergency dialysis, a machine that acts as an artificial kidney to clean the blood and save the patient's life. This brings us to the most vital question you can ask yourself as an athlete. How do I tell the difference between extreme DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, and a medical emergency? We all know what it feels like to be brutally sore. DOMS usually sets in about 24 to 48 hours after a workout. It hurts to walk down the stairs, but if you warm up, you can still generally contract the muscle. It is usually bilateral, meaning if you did squats, both of your legs hurt equally. Rhabdomyolysis is a completely different beast. The pain is often described as excruciating and deep, sometimes localizing heavily to the specific muscle group that was destroyed, like the triceps or the lower back. The weakness is absolute. The muscle refuses to fire. You might notice actual, physical swelling of the muscle belly, making it hard to the touch. You will likely feel systemically ill, nauseous, and feverish due to the toxins in your blood. And most importantly, the dark tea-colored urine is the ultimate red flag. If you see it, the debate is over. You need a doctor. Here is the doctor's verdict: true toughness. Your body is an incredibly resilient, magnificent machine. It is designed to adapt, to grow stronger, and to carry you through an extraordinary life. But it operates on the laws of biology, not the slogans on a motivational poster. True mental toughness is not about destroying your tissue to prove a point. True toughness is about discipline. It is about checking your ego at the door, respecting the process of progressive adaptation, and knowing that sustainable, long-term health is vastly more impressive than a single, destructive workout. Push yourself, work hard, and challenge your limits, but do it with intelligence, adequate hydration, and profound respect for the cellular armor that keeps you alive. I want to hear from you in the comments below. What is one way you are going to prioritize hydration and smart recovery in your programming this week? Let's train hard, but let's train smart, together. Until next time, stay curious, stay resilient, and take care of your kidneys. Watch this video suggestion. It was especially picked for you. Please share, comment, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thank you. It helps a ton with the algorithm. Remain tuned for future videos and keep growing.